podium and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Gordon Oliver. I live at 1228 Hardwood Drive, Lindenwood subdivision in Wesley Chapel. Mayor Fuller, distinguished council members, thank you for letting me speak tonight. I wanted to talk to you about the safety of the Lindenwood residents trying to leave our community. This applies to vehicles trying to pull out of our community as well as community members trying to walk to the stores across the street. I want to concentrate on pedestrians for the most part. Anyone of our community members who successfully negotiates the crosswalks at Hardwood Drive and 84, or Linden Glen and Waxhaw Indian Trail, are immediately entered into the Olympics for their speed and agility, or into NASCAR for their high-speed avoidance techniques. Both of these crosswalks are on curves, which means most cars you do not see the people until they're almost upon. And although I have the utmost confidence in people to obey the speeding or the speed laws, the vehicles coming around those curves do appear to be traveling a little faster than they should, making it even more perilous for those trying to use those crosswalks. 2 weeks ago, while cleaning the pond area, I noticed a woman with a stroller and a young boy trying to cross at the crosswalk at Hardwood. That's just adjacent to Hickory Tower.
What is that age right now?
After about 15 minutes of being unsuccessful, I went over to help her out. I stepped out into the road, waving my arms like a crazy man, stopping traffic long enough for her to get across. I am sure several drivers had stories when they got home of the dancing, arm-waving lunatic of Wesley Chapel. Bottom line is Lindenwood community is asking for help to come up with a safer way for our residents to like to walk to the stores across the street. Currently we have the crosswalks there, but again, as I mentioned, they're on curves. So getting across, people use their horns rather than slow down, and it's been rather perilous at best. So I know that we're looking to get in the expansion, possibly traffic lights at that location. Because I know with the stores that were being built over here, the medical facility, the increased traffic, more than likely we're going to need some help getting all those vehicles out of there. So a traffic light right at that location might be beneficial. And if we had one of those push-button crosswalk type deals, that would really be outstanding because we're kind of landlocked. We can only get out through Lindenwood, or we get out through, that's right across from the new veterinarian's office, or through Hardwood, which is across from Hickory Tavern. So, and both of those are on curves. If you ever want to take a challenge, come down Lindenwood and try to get out on Waxhaw Indian Trail. That curve, you have to look through a special little hole between two tree limbs to be able to see down that road far enough to tell whether the cars are coming. So it's not very safe at all. But anyway, that's what I'm asking is for the city to kind of take a look at that location, at least one location to afford us the opportunity to safely get out of that development with pedestrians. Vehicles are the same way. You come out of there and people, you make that turn, you come out on 84, and the first thing you do is you look in your mirror and somebody's on your bumper. And they're telling you you're number one, they're exercising their God-given right to test their horns and all sorts of other appropriate ways of identification. Anyway, that is item number one. The second item I wanted to talk to you about is leash law. I know that's something that we don't have in Wesley Chapel, but the problem that we're having is we have a Rottweiler and Doberman group that comes into our development from Underwood. We know the house that it comes from. I've been on the line with the sheriff at least 4 times concerning these dogs. But they're telling us that the only way that they can help us is if somebody catches them on video being aggressive or if somebody is the victim of that aggression, or if police officers witness the aggression. So to me, that's saying, well, if you get somebody that gets bit, then we can do something about it. And so what's happened is those dogs have appeared in our neighborhood 6 times in the last 8 months at different locations. They come through the woods and then they prowl the neighborhood, and they've been very aggressive with anybody walking dogs or even kids out there in the neighborhood on bicycles. So I'm a little worried. Our community has gone from where the kids walk the dogs in the afternoon to where the kids and the family members walking the dogs with cans of mace. One guy I saw out there the other day had a can of bear spray. And that's not the way we should be in our neighborhood. And there are a number of people that mentioned to me, well, I got a concealed carry. I said, look, we're not turning this into the Wild West. And I'm sure that individual loves his dogs as much as I do. I just don't want to see them hurt. But I also don't want to see anybody in our community hurt. So I'd like to ask that the city council look into establishing, at least at the very minimum, a leash law where somebody that has dogs, if they're off of their private property, they have to be on leashes to protect the residents of the community.
Has the owner been contacted?
Yes, ma'am.
The government?
Those dogs have bit somebody, if I'm not mistaken. There is one incident of somebody being bit by those dogs.
So he isn't making any effort to keep the dogs in his yard? He's just letting them run?
Yeah, they put them out in the backyard and they wander around and do what they want to do. I've got the address. I didn't bring it with me. This is something that got thrown on me here just recently as far as a request to talk to you as the council about. So, again, they're sizable dogs. We know Rottweilers and Dobies are generally not something you want to run across.
Does your HOA have a leash law?
We do. I have not seen anybody in our community walking dogs without being on leashes. But it's just, I'm a little worried about the residents. So the last incident happened about a week and a half ago where one of our residents was out jogging and the dogs came through the woods and got very aggressive with her. And she's pretty terrified.
Will you send me the address and I can talk to Brandon?
I will do so.
And on the issue with the limited sight distance, just so you know, the county will tell you, its own Department of Transportation, as you exit the subdivision, the speed limit on the road is 35, you add a 0 to that, 350, that's your sight distance that's supposed to be. It's 45, it's 450 feet. So if your sight distance isn't the speed limit with a 0 added to the end of it, cutting back vegetation is usually the best thing to do to get the sight distance down.
I did that myself.
A hole that you have to look through to see cars coming.
Yeah, it's the way the road curves around, the hole actually appears in the resident's yard. So I have his fence here, and so I have to kind of look through that hole in the vegetation to kind of get an idea if I can see cars coming. Because other than that, most of the cars are doing 45, but as you well know, here on 84, people probably exceed that a little bit.
Well, the standard for the county is the speed limit plus a 0 added to the end of that is the distance, the sight distance that you're supposed to have.
Now, I've done what I could as far as to cut back the vegetation. I went almost all the way out to in front of the town hall here, and I took one of those chainsaw trimmers and pole saws and basically cut back as far as I could to make it as safe as I could. It gave us a little bit more view, but it's still not enough. And when they come around that corner, they're not willing to slow down and stop. I don't know if they know if there's a crosswalk there, but I challenge you to try it. It's nothing that's for the faint of heart. But I thank you all for listening tonight.
Take a look at those.
All right, next is Mr. Joel Down. You'll come to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Council. My name is obviously Joel Down, and I live at 408 Conway Court. As you already know, I am the chair of the Events and Programs Committee, but I am not speaking on behalf of the Events and Programs Committee, and all of these things that I will say next are my opinions and my opinions only. First, I'd like to thank the Council for allocating the funds last year to the funding of the live streaming of village meetings. As we know, this is the first regular meeting that the village has live streamed, and I appreciate and hope that this will bring more attention to the happenings of the village and this council, and inform the public and bring more transparency so the public can understand what's happening in their government. Secondly, I would like the council to consider a resolution or maybe a new resolution in favor of making Wesley Chapel its own zip code. Recently, Congressman Harris was able to add Weddington to a bill in the House of Representatives that passed actually through the House that would give Weddington their own zip code. I would like the council to explore all possibilities and avenues when it comes to this so that we can hopefully minimize the issues within the village. As you may know, the village is in 4 different zip codes of Monroe, Matthews, Waxhaw, and Indian Trail. And so it sometimes gets confusing with the residents of where do they actually live and who do they actually vote for. And obviously a post office would be absolutely stupendous, but at least a zip code at a minimum would be great. And then third and finally, I would like the council to consider contacting Congressman Harris's office to request that the Congressman's office write a letter of recommendation for the village for their FEMA grant that they have for the dam project that we all know is going to be a hefty amount of money. As I'm a student studying American government and politics, I recently found that this was possible, and therefore I'm requesting that the council allow the mayor or staff to reach out to the Congressman's office for this letter of support so that we hopefully become more likely that the council and this village can get those FEMA funds. And I would like that the council to maximize all different options that the congressman may have that I may not understand. And obviously, this is made just another thing I would like the council to look into is possibly reach out to state representatives. Obviously, their budget cycle has not completed yet. And I would like the council to possibly look into seeing if the state could possibly allocate any amount of money, whether that's a few $1,000s or hundreds of thousands of dollars. It probably would be greatly appreciated by the village residents. And even if you contact them and get a no, the worst they can say is no. So I would suggest that you go out and contact them because might as well. And I would also request that this action be taken tonight because the sooner the better, and hopefully we can get a faster answer from FEMA with the letter of recommendation from the Congressman's office, and maybe we can get into that state budget for the, yes.
Who was the representative that put the Weddington zip code through? Do you know who was behind that?
So from what I understand, Mayor Bell of Weddington was mainly behind that and contacting with the Congressman's office or the Congressman directly. I'm not exactly sure which, but
It
obviously
hasn't been approved yet.
it has not been finally approved through the Senate. It has been passed through the House though.
We've tried it.
Deb, just so you know, we did try this a few years ago. The first thing the post office will tell you is, one, you have to have more than
10,000.
10,000 residents. We're at 9,780, whatever. Until the next census comes out, we're not going to be over the minimum requirement. Then additionally, we found out that each postmaster in each of the 5 different zip codes that are servicing Wesley Chapel, they all get a bonus based on the number of houses that they service. So those 5 postmasters would have to give up part of their income to create a post office for the village of Wesley Chapel, which is not something they're going to be inclined to do.
We actually wrote a resolution not that long ago.
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
our post office.
I remember, but
For
I
our-
didn't
for our
know.
own zip code.
But if Weddington is that close to getting,
Well, I think we definitely watch it and see if it passes.
Yeah.
but
They're going to tell you the same answer they told us last time.
I'm hesitant to say it will
Yeah.
pass.
And one question for Amy, on the live stream, and since this is our first live stream, Joe brought that up, do we have a link to the live stream on our webpage?
It's not live streamed tonight. I was having difficulties this afternoon with the
When-
camera.
When it does come live, will there be a link in our main one?
Yes, the plan is to post it on Facebook and everything to advertise the link.
I'm not worried about Facebook as much as I am on our main webpage.
Right, to advertise, to promote everything, sorry.
And Joe, I think you brought up a good idea about the FEMA letter.
All right,
Joe.
thank you.
All right, that brings us to the additions, deletions, and adoption of agenda. I want to move item 6 to right above item 5. And then, council, do you have any additions or deletions?
You had minutes to approve for the special meeting, is that what we
You-
It is item C.
Mike, you had that at your ideas
Yeah,
to pass down? Yeah.
That's item C. Oh, that says 814, it should be 8-4.
So can you repeat that?
Under consent agenda, item C should say 8.4, and then item D should be a regular council meeting, not a budget.
Motion to approve consent agenda as amended.
No, excuse me, Mike, I've got one possible change and one question. The question, or do we not have legal counsel?
No,
Here
not
tonight?
tonight.
Okay. Were we aware of that?
Yes.
Okay. And Madam Mayor, do I have permission to poll, our guests?
Poll, I guess,
Take a vote, show of hands.
for,
How many people are here to speak on the, item 10, Brookmead Development
we
Performance
can just
Market?
move that one up.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, I'd like to move that one up.
you can move it up to, yeah, they would need to speak in public comment.
What's that?
They would need to speak in public comment.
I think there was conversation that took place
Okay.
prior to that.
Emily, okay?
Okay, then I would like to add, an item to 10 to give the, residents here an opportunity to voice their opinion if so desired.
I
Okay.
think that's a great idea.
Okay. And let's move that up to, can we move it up to after 8?
Can we move it up to,
Well, we have,
Who's that?
we have people for 9 as well.
Well, yeah, that's a regular committee. So let's move it up to after 6. I moved the mayor report up to 5, before 5, and then they can come after me. Does that work? Anything else, David? Okay. Anything else? All right.
Now I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All
I'll
in favor?
second.
All right.
That was not the right, did we approve the regular agenda?
Not yet.
I'm sorry, that was to approve the additions, deletions, and adoption of the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Motion to approve the additions, deletions of the regular agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Now I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Perfect. Is there a second?
I'll second it, but I've got some housekeeping issues, and can we make these housekeeping issues with it remaining in the consent agenda,
Yes.
or do we need to pull it out?
It's just housekeeping.
Okay. For the June minutes, I'm gonna rat on myself. I was absent, so it needs to show that I was absent.
Okay, so June, Mark David absent.
Yeah. For the, I think this was also in the June minutes. Under council comments, Mike's comment ended. I think there was more to go along with that last sentence. Give me a second. We have a lot of minutes, didn't we?
Yes.
Councilmember Kamala echoed the mayor's sentiments, offering his own analogy. He compared the situation to taking a wrecked car and turning it into a race car, commending Mayor Pro Tem Bailey for not only accepting the responsibility, and it is. So, I don't know.
So do you think there was more? I probably did say more than that. Doesn't sound like me.
It says for not only accepting the responsibility, and then it ends. It just,
That's just to say the acceptability,
okay.
responsibility of taking on the duties she has.
All right, so we'll edit that.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yes, on the July minutes, council, I don't want you guys to take blame for my thoughts. And there was a lot of dialogue that went on with the Meals on Wheels, and in the minutes it said council was responsible for a lot of those comments. A lot of those negative comments were mine. And I'll take ownership of those because I still believe that, but if the council is okay with it staying as it is, then so be it.
I'm fine with the way it was. Anybody really wants to dig deep into it, more than welcome to listen to the audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're winging it.
It was very wordy at first, David Cancel voice, but I decided to be more, try to condense it, so if people want to know more about who said what, they can ask.
All right, any more, Dan?
So we've got.
Okay, so, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as amended. All in favor? Okay. And then that brings us to the mayor report. We have a special guest tonight with us. We have Landon and his mother. If they want to come up to the front. We're going to issue a proclamation for the month of August as Disability Inclusion Month. And I wanted to give Landon and his mom a chance to come up and introduce themselves.
This is not your first time here.
No,
I know, we were here
Couple times.
2 years ago. My mom was here last year, so. So can you all see Landon and me? Okay, good, because sometimes I feel invisible when I'm talking about disability inclusion and feel like Landon is invisible. Landon, you know, don't misunderstand me because Landon has friends and he plays on regular sports teams. But sometimes I feel like he is invisible to neighbors, classmates, even friends. He isn't physically disabled. He's neurodiverse. He has Williams syndrome and 2 heart conditions. But he'll get there on his own time. He may sit quietly and listen at times, although not so quietly at other times. But this doesn't mean ignore him. Ask him to play, be in his group at school, talk to him, even if he doesn't respond right away. Let's include Landon, and let's include everybody, disability or not. Don't forget him and those like him, or let him fade into the background. People like Landon have value, worth, talents, and feelings, and they are just like you. Landon is Landon. He belongs and deserves to take up space. Please see him and those like him. We as society cannot be offended by inclusion, disability inclusion. It's not a bad word. It's not going to take something away from other people to include others. Landon and others aren't just taking up space. It will enrich you more than you know having a friend like Landon. So let's celebrate Landon. Let's celebrate each other and our differences. And thank you for having us today and helping us raise awareness. People like you are the believers. So please take our message forward today and pass it on to others. And Landon, do you want to give her the heads hat?
Landon, you got a lot taller.
Yeah, you probably grew. Thank you so much.
You must have grown.
So I'm going to read the proclamation if that's okay.
Yes.
And then we will, once it's signed, we'll put it on our Facebook page and our Sunshine List. Let's Include Landon, founded in 2023, is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to create opportunities to bring children with and without disability. It is fun, isn't it? With and without disabilities, those who are neurodivergent and those with developmental delays together to create real bonds and true friendships. Inclusion means children with disabilities are not in separate activities nor lead separate lives. Separating people by perceived ability disadvantages everyone. Belonging is a human need. Disability inclusion is mutually beneficial. Children with disabilities will benefit by being just as much a part of their community as their non-disabled peers. Be part of a team, have a best friend, create true friendships, and have a sense of belonging. And non-disabled peers will benefit from learning compassion, patience, respect, kindness, citizenship, and understanding the value of differences and how to successfully work and play with people who are different. Everyone wins when we include. We ask families in our community to accept, respect, and include people of all abilities, including their neurodivergent peers and peers with developmental delays and disabilities. Inclusion starts with each individual person, and each person pledges to help their community be more inclusive. Every child is valued because of their strengths, gifts, and even challenges, as disability is simply diversity. We must trust that every child is an incredible whole person who does not need to be fixed. So I, Amanda Fuller, the mayor of the Village of Wesley Chapel, do hereby proclaim August 2025 as Disability Inclusion Month in the Village of Wesley Chapel and ask all citizens to join us in this recognition. Thank you for coming, Landon. We enjoy having you. So that will bring us to David's Brookmead. So,
Pat, your turn.
that's right, somebody else's turn. Amy, can you turn the screen off for a second? While we're going through the Brookmead, well, I think we're about to show some pictures.
But also when you're scrolling, if you turn it off before you start scrolling.
I was just looking for the proclamation real quick.
Well, I understand, but especially if we start live streaming and all.
Right, yes, I don't know how to do that then, actually, so, sorry.
So, last month's meeting, David asked us to hold on releasing the Brookmead performance bonds for the roads, and ask Emily to contact residents. And today we did receive a PowerPoint, so, Emily, I'll let you speak first.
And Scott, I couldn't get
Oh,
the
okay.
computer to work for the PowerPoint. But just as a reminder, the developer SHF Brookmead LLC is requesting the release of their $380,025 performance bond that covers site work, improvements, covering roads, grading, stormwater, sidewalks, and contingency at Brookmead subdivision. NCDOT has inspected the roads and found that they are all in accordance with NCDOT standards. And the village engineer has reviewed any other items and found that they have all been completed.
Okay. So, David?
And would that be 100% release of the bonds?
Yes.
Okay.
Have we had any feedback from any of the residents?
That is who is standing right here with us today.
Hey, we want to be effective with our time, right? My name is Nathan Tillotson. I live at 900 Brookmead Drive. I'm the president of the HOA. And here with me is Will First. He's the previous president. He's currently the vice president of the board. Dale Mills is back there. One of our community members, Jason McKay, is back there. Jay and Kimberly O'Donnell have come as well, just in representation. In short, when the final pavement was completed in 2019-2020, it was inadequate. And no one's disputing that because the developers, after 5 years, finally sent some crews out to do needed repairs. And they did repair the worst of the areas. Emily, if you want to start clicking through, or Amy, either one. This is what's left over, and I've only taken a handful of shots. We've got standing water, and we have lots and lots of cracks that did not get repaired. So again, the developer paid a group to come out and take care of areas that were splitting up, like when dough gets thin on the counter, if you're making cookies, right? They were kind of spread out like that. But we have lots of damaged roads. So we're here tonight to ask you not to release the bond, and then to somehow help us communicate with the developer that something else needs to be done. Will, here in just a moment, will speak briefly about his attempts when he was the president. I was on the board as well, so was Dale, to attempt to communicate with the developer to absolutely no avail. Right? So further work needs to be done. I would tell you that as an HOA board, we have 3 items that we would consider our vision when we're doing anything. The first one is obviously to have a safe community. The second thing is to keep property values high. And the third thing is that we want to promote a positive community. And obviously this hits number 2 pretty hard. And our concern is that if we let this go, the developer walks away with all this money that really doesn't belong to them because the roads are currently moving toward disrepair. And if you release the bond to them, now we're depending on the Department of Transportation, which my understanding is very backed up. I don't know what your work has looked like in your communication with them. You're shaking your head yes, Mayor, so, but we've tried to communicate with them, and anybody you talk to is very kind. You just don't get to talk to anybody that actually has an answer and can talk with you about what the solution will be. So we're in a situation where the home values in this community have reached $1 million and upwards. We'd like to keep them there, but that wouldn't matter, right? If the home values were half that, and for $250,000, we believe every community is worthy of having appropriate, safe roads, right? And Will, you want to address your experience?
Yeah, I'd just like to touch on the fact that my time during the presidency at the HOA, speaking with the town to make sure that the bond is still in place while we were trying to contact the developer, as Nathan pointed out, was just a complete waste of time. Emails, phone calls, unanswered. I did speak with the DOT directly to talk through the process of the release and the built to standards letter that the developer would need to get the bond release. And as you can see through the pictures, if this is the DOT standard, we have a long way to go. As Nathan pointed out, the cracks, the standing water, it really seemed as a very quick, sloppily done patch job to get the letter from the DOT. And I think the DOT probably rushed through the process because, as Nathan pointed out, they are backed up. So we do wish that the bond would continue to be held and that be reevaluated by the town.
So your communication with developers been non-existent, or?
Exactly. So we had previous contacts as we transitioned away from the developer. And those contacts, emails never bounced back. Phone calls in, never returned, things like that.
Have we had any contact directly from the developer?
Yes, I have contact information that I can provide to them.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Have they responded? Have they been knocking on our door saying, hey, where's our bond?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any representative here tonight from the developer?
I don't think so.
I don't think it's anybody. All right. And do you have an estimate as far as what the repairs would cost, or just not a last guess?
Not at this time, but in my humble opinion, I think the entire street needs to be resurfaced. For a road that is less than 10 years old.
Well, we have three basic options here, the way I see it. We can release it, not release it, or release part of it. And then the question is, if we release part of it, how much would we release? But I don't think we have enough information to answer that question specifically.
Yeah, I think what I would probably recommend is Emily reaching out to the developer and maybe getting some kind of sit down with the HOA, the developer, and DOT before moving forward with any kind of on-road.
And if it pleases the council, we can get estimates from paving companies.
I would wait and sit down with them first,
Okay.
see if we can get a face-to-face maybe.
Best thing to do is start the communication process.
Agreed. And that was our intent years ago, and it just went nowhere.
Well, hopefully the town will come to the table.
What's the dollar amount again?
$380,025.
Well, $300,000, that would be able to at least communicate.
You'd hope so.
Well, that's why we
Does
do
Emily
a
have
performance
your
bond.
information?
She does.
I do, yes.
Let me ask this question. You representing the entire HOA?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad you did it this way versus having, 12 other people just come up and stand up at the podium one at a time.
We can let them up if you want to hear from them.
No, I'm glad that you're organized enough to represent all of
The O'Donnells live next to Lake Rookmeet. We're going to be offering annual fishing passes. So, but they do have a ton of water, and how inconvenient that is, right? And it causes further damage to the road, and that's not the only spot. So we appreciate you all hearing us out tonight, helping us take next steps.
We will,
I guess y'all want to make a motion to formally request this?
sure, we can. So I'll ask someone on council to formally make a motion to have our planner reach out to the developer and then see if DOT to request a sit down to discuss the status of Brookmead Road.
So motion, but can we figure out exactly
Not
who
what I
he wants?
said.
At
Do I
that
have a
meeting,
second?
Second.
we're gonna have a developer, we're gonna have a representative from the HOA, and who else?
Seems like David's pretty active in this. So I
I'm
think
not,
David.
I'm not sure if this one, if we want council's representation. I think this is more a discussion between the HOA and the developer to see if they can come to a resolution.
What about the representative from the Department of Transportation, or,
Well, that was in the motion for the HOA, the developer, and DOT to come to the table.
Great.
I think we could also offer probably a venue for that as well, if need be.
Sure,
That'd
absolutely.
be wonderful.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I'm also going to make
Thank
a
you for
follow-up
coming
motion.
thank you for coming in for seeing the pictures. Pictures are always very, very helpful.
Good, good. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you, council.
Also make a secondary motion that we hold off releasing the bond until we move forward with, until we get an update. Yes, sir.
So there's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in
Yes,
favor?
no.
Oh, wait, yes, ma'am.
I would like to know what our legal parameters are before we start saying we can withhold or partially withhold or not. We've been down this road before, and there are some legal limitations. I'd like to know what those are at the next meeting before we consider any vote or anything less than full release.
I kind of like that before the next meeting, we can do it, and not wait until just the next meeting if possible.
I will talk to George. Right, so we have a motion and a second, and I will give it to George. All in favor? All right, unanimous. Okay, that brings us to the finance officer report.
Yes, so we finished our fiscal year June 30th, and our outsourced company, CLA, is continuing to work on closing the books and getting everything ready for our annual audit. We engaged with the auditors on those documents, or approved those documents last month, and then that audit process will start shortly. So that work is continuing, as is the closing out for the first month of this year with July. And so once that's done, then I will email you the financial reports. Once everything is clean and done, there was a great deal of items that have to be cleaned up, including retirement contributions and other errors from the transition to Black Mountain. And so they're helping us just make sure we've got all the I's dotted, T's crossed as we go in to keep us in compliance. So
Can I ask a more general question with the conditions of how things were left when we lost our clerk? Are the records in a form that makes sense?
that's what they're doing. They're going through and making sure we have all the right supporting documentation, everything's there for the auditor when she comes in.
And does Amy have access to all those files?
Why would Amy do that? It's not together and published for us yet. It's gathered it, and then it will be public records. I don't understand your question.
Well, they're going to have to come in here and sort through this stuff.
They're already doing that. They have been doing that.
They have access to it.
Oh, yeah, they have access to everything they need.
All right.
Yeah, it's not finished yet for us to have something. That's what I thought you meant, like finished up. It's not
No, not finished, just access to the raw materials.
And then, the second thing under the finance report was just a tax settlement report, which just lets us see the county is doing a terrific job for us in collecting our taxes. They have been doing that for a number of years. And IFC is for us to approve the tax charges and approve them doing that collection for next year, or for this fiscal year, excuse me, we're already in it, so it's this fiscal year. So I would appreciate a vote and approval for Union County to continue to collect the property taxes on our behalf, on the village's behalf.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve Union County to continue to collect our ad valorem taxes for the Village of West Central for fiscal year 2025-2026.
Second there.
All right, any further discussion?
On that note, but I did have a question about
Sure.
the budget in general, but we can vote on this first.
Okay. All in favor? Unanimous?
Lori, forgive me, I'm playing catch up and being being gone in June. But I just got the minutes on Friday, and as I was going through those, there was a note in the June minutes that that you guys found a negative $412 net income, and then you thought it to be maybe budget amendments that were not entered into the new finance system correctly. Has that been fixed?
It's been sort of resolved, and it's a very odd situation to be in. So when the 2024-2025 budget was written up, it included that the village would definitively receive, included in revenue, $700,000 from a FEMA grant for the dam repair, and council had a $300,000 match on that. So those were included as revenue items in the budget, neither of which we didn't have a FEMA grant. It should have never been included as revenue. And just the way the puts and takes with all of that, that totally blew up a bunch of stuff. But we've gotten the other fund balances and everything straight now. And that's not done this way this year. There's the OSBM grant that we're using for the sedimentation removal. Is set up as a separate fund, and because Black Mountain allows us to do fund accounting, which QuickBooks did not let us do, every time we get a grant, it will be in a separate fund. And so its revenue and expenditures will be all together in that separate fund. So we'll have much better accountability going forward.
And there was a lot of stuff misclassified, like in the wrong line item, which has been corrected, and I think the discrepancies were down to like $400 over
Yeah,
or something.
and we still have some things because the way the software was set up for 2024-2025, we added in some categories to get better differentiation, like broke out code enforcement in its own department because that's an option. Buildings and grounds is its own department instead of being under administration. So some of that's a change for us this year, but the expectations will give us a little more granularity and visibility to where truly just administrative things are under administration, and then you don't have everything for the entire village buried in one department.
And I think I learned never do a financial software conversion mid.
Never. I have no idea.
You do it at the
We-
beginning of a new fiscal year.
And not only that, again, the NCLM group, shoot, anything what the acronym stands for, group that's doing the software things is basically do not cancel or stop subscribing to your existing software until after your next financial audit is complete, which our next, this audit that's coming up will be complete until December 31st. And instead, within days of going live on Black Mountain, that software contract was canceled. We had ended, and therefore we had no ability or access into it after that. We have read-only access, and that's another hindrance to us and taking additional time.
So there's no parallel system.
No. But, well,
Well,
there should
thanks.
really be a true parallel system, but there was no ability to go in to reconcile and ensure.
I get exactly what you're saying, yeah.
But thanks to the support of CLM and their staff who have Black Mountain software experience, it's been very helpful to try to figure out, get everything reclassified and where it needs to be.
Yeah, and it's not really easy sometimes, just, like, what is this, and the fund accounting, and so we're still learning some stuff, and, but overall, I think we're gonna be in a better place.
And we're very close to closing the books on the fiscal year. I think there's an
Yeah.
outstanding
What?
reimbursement check, and then I think that's it. That's all of our June bills that we've got. And then we can close the books.
So that's all I have. Any other questions about finance?
Okay. That brings us to the code enforcement report. I am sure you all saw the report from Alliance. In your agenda, that was included in your agenda packet. Did anybody have any questions about it? It does look like they're working hard, and I'm just trying to pull it back up to tell you how many
I think it was very impressive how just putting a little hanger on their door seemed to have gotten a lot of stuff cleaned up.
Well, I'm just glad we didn't have to start from square one
Yeah.
with a lot of these properties that are habitual, which seems to be our method of operation over the last few years, every time we switched companies.
Definitely hit the ground running.
Have we vetted any of the reports that have come back from them? And the reason I ask, how long has Cottonville Circle been a thorn in our side here? The two
Decades.
properties there, both of them. And according to their report, that's been abated and closed. I want to think that's correct, but
Trust and verify.
I think probably, especially with those two, it would be worthwhile, yes.
So you want us to check out the Cottonwood properties?
Well, I think what I would say is if we have questions about what abatement means, if he could explain to us how he judges that. What's his criteria and parameters that he uses to say, yes, they're in compliance? Because if he just told them, hey, you have this one vehicle here that needs to be moved, and they moved it, then he would say it's abated. But if you're looking for the other 14 vehicles sitting there to be moved to, that might not have been abated.
Yeah, in his notes it says, for those cases were open for these properties for overgrown lots, and after contacting the property owners, all lots were mowed and cases were abated and closed. And again, my memory's not what it used to be, but with Cottonwood Circle, there was a whole lot more to just the overgrown lots.
Grass.
Well, there are two open in Cottonwood and two closed. I don't know which property's which.
So basically, you want their definition of the word abatement.
Who is that?
What's the criteria he's using to judge them by, and then how's he saying it's met? Kind of to David's point, yeah, if we weren't familiar with these properties, we'd go, yeah. I still think it's good, it's progress,
Yeah.
but
Well, there's two open and two abated. I don't know which ones were the more challenging situations.
Well, the fact that we don't have residents here tonight specifically asking us to kick the tires and light fires again, that's at least a good thing.
What's fire?
Well, I will get us a definition of abatement and check Alliance before the next meeting.
That is a good point, Rick. Madam Mayor, I didn't see the other two that were still open.
Amy and I've met him and his protege several times, and he knows his stuff. He's been doing this for a long time, but I can be sure to circle back with him and verify. And we can always, if we want to, we can always have staff double check these properties, at least for a little bit, and see
I think that at this
that
point,
we are truly making progress.
doesn't that defeat the purpose of hiring an outside company?
But even what our staff did previously is we have before and after pictures.
Yeah.
Right.
We could ask for abatement pictures. That would be an easy fix. Okay. All right, so that leads us on from code enforcement into.
One last thing on the code enforcement. Amy, I asked you last time, I think we had a different meeting about the side sweeps, and I think whether they've kind of fallen by the wayside. I don't think anybody wants to be treating around on the outside of the ditches on the side of the road. Is that still a regularly scheduled event, or?
Yep, it happens, what, every 2 weeks, Amy?
Yesterday or today is due, so with the rainy weather,
I just had issues. I had a resident complain to me just today about excessive signs and things like that.
can you tell me where, because
Yeah.
I don't see any.
And we've said in the past that if you do have a complaint or a problem, just to let us know, and we'll go out and take care of it.
Well, specifically a resident in my neighborhood complaining about some signs.
Or if you could forward that address to Amy, we can have him look at it.
Okay.
He's very amenable. I've sent him a few intersections to go double check, and he has gotten right on it. Okay, so that brings us to the Dogwood Park report. Mr. Lepke, if you'll come up, please, sir.
Good evening, Council. This month it's been wet and stormy, as you know. We had one incident at the park, very large, couple of very large branches were blown off the top of a tree onto a neighbour's fence, took out the fence. I didn't have to call the tree service guy since it was all the way down, so I was able to clean it up and make the fence repairs. So not much else.
John, with that, where are we with, as far as percentage of budget on the tree removal?
We've used 50% of the budget.
That was my question. Thank you.
So $6,000 remaining in the budget should we have another storm where I need to call out a tree count. All the big dead trees are down. So hopefully the ones that's healthy and standing stay standing. I sent you guys earlier the materials cost for the mini golf thing. When I was preparing for the budget, I was doing an educated guesstimate. I told you it was going to be $10,000-ish. It actually came in when I started getting bids, selecting the low bid and getting at least 3 bids for every item that was over $1,000 as our procurement policy requires. It actually came in at $10,570.67.
You're a good estimator.
Which is, I am a good estimator, which is 6% higher than budgeted. So if you don't like that, what I can do, which I also gave you the calculations, I can cut the base material from 3 inches down to 2 inch. 2 inches is the bare minimum they recommend. They said 3 inches better. 3 inch would be 106% of budget. If I drop it down to 2 inches, less spreading, less moving material, it comes down to $10,064, or right in the nail. So as I said, I've got for all the items required to build a mini golf thing that are over $1,000, I've received at least 3 quotes. I'm suggesting we go with a low bidder in all cases. And you have the numbers. I'm asking if you're all good for me to go ahead and start procuring the materials as outlined in the spreadsheet stuff I sent you.
It is very popular already.
Already people are doing it without the surface there.
I've seen some cute pictures of people out there playing. So, council, any feedback for John?
Just what I already said, that there are already people going out of their way to ask John to do the miniature golf course. I'm in favor of it.
Well, I think the big question is 2 inches or 3 inches?
The cost delta is about $600, right?
$570.60.
$506 difference.
Okay. Is the 3-inch base going right on top of the grade, or do you have anything between the grade and the stone?
So, I tried originally establishing the mini golf thing, growing moss, so it's all been leveled and graded. It's hard packed clay, and that was growing moss on. So the stone screenings or stone washing is very fine material. Will go down just on top of the existing grade. It's already done. So it's just a question of, do we go with the 2 inch to keep it right on budget, or do we go with the 3 inch that's recommended and puts me $600-ish over budget?
I don't think the $600 one way or the other is going to break the overall park budget.
I would rather do it the right way the first time
Agreed.
than
Agreed.
cheap out and come back and fix it later, which we do frequently. So I would say, my thought would be to find the $600 from, take the $600 from contingency, let's start out in
No, we don't
July.
have to do that.
We don't?
No. There's enough money within the department at this point in the budget cycle that that's not needed at this point.
So you're all good?
Mhm.
moving ahead and starting to procure materials.
So could somebody make a motion for John to go ahead, full speed ahead with this project?
Sure. I make a motion to move forward with the 3-inch base on the stone.
A second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
John, what is your timeline? This fiscal
When
year.
it's dry.
Preferably, we're toward the end of summer,
Yeah.
and,
We start, as soon as I get back from the UK, I actually start before then because I now have an assistant who I will order, like in the next day or so, I will order the edging. So my assistant can be installing the edging while I'm playing rock and roll in England. And then when we come back, we can start laying the gravel, get the turf.
sure you're coming back, right?
By the end of the fall is my target to have it.
Because we have such good weather in the fall.
And I can't wait to see the little kids out there. I'm thinking down the line, competitions, adults versus kids. all
John?
that.
Let's get one thing at a time.
A picture.
Will you please send me all the original quotes that you got, so we just put them in the file for
Yeah.
It's a capital expenditure.
They're all emails. I asked them
I
all.
just need them.
Next thing I want to talk to you about is the demucking. I think LJB finally fessed up. They do not, in fact, have the resources to support us.
So at the last meeting, council expressed their concern that LJB had the manpower with all the frequent changes to handle the finishing of the demucking. So I did email her that night. She responded back very quickly that indeed they are short-staffed and they sang Amy Black's praises and they were very amenable to transferring the work to her. So we did talk with George. The contract was not to exceed $20K with $12K for construction drawings and $8K to permitting applications. Right now, they've invoiced about $10,237.50, somewhere around that. So we talked with George. Amy Black is willing to take on the finishing of the project. She has sent a contract. We would need council to make a motion to engage work with Amy Black again, and then we would need to do the Minnie Brooks Act and our purchasing policy for the remaining about $10K that's left in this project. And I've got wording for those motions, but I thought John could answer any questions council has, but basically it is, they've lost employees, and we want to make sure the project is completed timely, and Amy Black is exceptional.
And we did receive the permit from DEQ to do the work. They suggested some changes to the scope. Access point at the head of the pond, additional silt fencing if necessary. So there is a revision needed to the plan that was created by LJB and the scope of work. Amy's perfectly capable of doing that, and we need to revise the plans, the actual drawings and the scope of work to be consistent with the suggestions of DEQ when they issued the permit. So that would be the next step for Amy. It won't take her a long time. Once we agree we're going to move the work to Amy, she will revise those drawings and scope of work, and then we can put it out.
One follow-up question, this agreement for professional services contract, has George approved this?
He sure has. He sent it today, and that's why I forwarded it to council.
Well, the first thing that jumped out at me was where it says payments. It says the fee hourly and estimated to be $10,000. To me, that reads like we're paying him $10,000 an hour.
What neighbor is that?
What is left on the account is $10,000, and if you come over here and you read the rest of it, when it talks about the hourly and the expenses, so it'll be up to $10,000.
But then what's not included in the expenses, if she has to go to the job site, that's travel expenses. If she wants to have lunch while she's there, we have to pay food, lodging, reports, postage, handling.
I don't think that's any different from any other engineering contract we've done.
I trust Amy Black to know what she needs, and I trust, she's local, so yes, we would pay her travel down here, she's not gonna need a hotel.
I'm just saying, one, I went over the stuff for tonight's meeting, and I don't want to get off track too much here. I went over the stuff for tonight's meeting Friday and Saturday, and then I went through it again to refresh my memory for today, this morning, and then this just hit my desk, I guess, this afternoon.
That's right, because Amy Black sent it Friday, George reviewed it today, and I sent it to you as soon as I had it.
In general,
And John does not want to wait, he wants Amy Black to be.
I don't want to wait either, but I just think in general, the last minute, here's a legal document he wants to sign, but we've only had.
It's good we had the attorney review it. Yeah, this was a last minute thing, Mike, we try not to make a habit of it.
But in
George
general,
reviewed it. In general, yes, but this was not in general, this was an emergency. Council asked me to do it at the last meeting, so George has reviewed it, John does not want to delay, I'm asking council tonight to move forward. Generally, this is not what we did.
right, but I'm not specifically objecting to this contract or this situation. or
No, you're
trying-
just talking. Okay, so is there a motion, and I can tell you, George said that the motion would be, so we need to motion to approve moving from LJB to Amy Black's new, to continuing the project with Amy Black. So if anybody would like to make that motion?
Before the motion's made, I got a question. What is the time urgency of this?
The not giving the money back to the state.
And when would we have to give the money back to the city?
June.
When?
June.
It was October.
It was October, we got an extension to June before we have to spend, have it invoiced and done by June.
Of 26?
It was October of 25.
Okay. Okay.
It was October of 25, now it's June of 26.
Right. It wasn't just an extension for us. There was a
Right.
mass approval to extend
Right.
certain types of grants timing until June instead of October. We weren't that special.
And I don't know what the turnaround requirement is for the permit feedback or the permit deadline.
We have the permit, we've just got to revise the plans to be consistent with the permit. Then we got send it out to bid. George has already approved RFP language, so it's ready to go. When we have the revised plans, we get the revised plans, send it out for RFP, give the bidders some time to bid on it, formulate their bid, evaluate those bids, come to council with a recommendation of this is who the bidder is. Then they'll probably need, I don't know, a month to mobilize. So 3-4 months is going quickly, just in the process.
And then the best time of year to do it, the early spring, late winter.
We want to do it
Well,
when the least rain is, but you never know. They'll stop if it gets too wet and they'll restart when it dries out.
So between now and this time next month, what has to be done?
The plan's revised.
And do we know how long it's going to take to get those revised?
Not long, I don't think.
Okay.
Amy's very familiar with the project. LJB will need to transfer the files up to Elliot, soon Elliot,
Her number.
to the new firm. Amy will then, I've already sent her the comments from DEQ on what needs to be changed. So once we end the contract with Amy, Amy can begin working on the revisions. I'm guessing a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. Then we can put it out to bid. With people 3 weeks, 4 weeks to prepare their bids. And then the following council meeting, I'll be coming with a recommendation.
Madam Mayor, will SEH of North Carolina accept our accept the contract or the agreement with markups.
Sure.
Okay. I agree with Mike in that two things. I reviewed this at 6:35 whenever I got stopped, so I've not looked through it. But the part that I did go through was the scope, which I agree with, but as soon as I saw the first line under payment, I did the same thing, Mike. I was like, wait a minute, we're not paying $10,000 an hour.
Up to,
I think there's just a comma missing. Like the fee is hourly, comma, an estimated fee, total $10,000. I think that's probably what was meant.
But again, council, that's as far as I got. When I got to that, I was like, there's too many questions for me to go too much further. So I did not review anything beyond that. I share the concerns. I don't want to give any money back to the state, and I know that we need to move forward with this. I know we do, but I can't vote to approve this with having only 10 minutes of review time. I'm sorry.
it's okay, it was 3 pages, I figured everybody could do it quickly. But that is, you're correct. So, is anyone willing to make a motion to move forward with this project?
I'm willing to make a motion to move forward with the project if, like David said, we can mark up that the agreement for the things that we have seen are doing it, because I do believe that we are in agreement that we want this firm to do the work, and we are in agreement that we have roughly $10,000 left that we set aside for all this engineering work. And John's done a very good job of describing the amount of work that remains and everything else, so I think, and our attorney has reviewed and said the contract was okay, that if we can mark it up, then we can approve it and move forward.
All you'd have to do is just say that the fee is hourly and estimated to be no more than a total of $10,000.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement with SEH of North Carolina for a contract not to exceed $10,000 to complete the engineering work necessary for the sedimentation removal project.
A second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor? All right, 3 in favor. So there needs to be a motion for the Mini Brooks Act, because that's for projects less than 5,000, and one for the council policy not to get bids, since we will be getting bids, and we're already halfway through the project.
So make a motion, I move that pursuant to NCGS 143-64.32, that the sedimentation removal project be exempt from the requirements of Article 3D of Chapter 143 of the North Carolina General Statutes because the anticipated fees are less than $50,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yes.
Sure.
Run that all by me one more time.
Pursuant to NCGS 143-64.32, that's the statute. I assume that's the number one.
I'm sorry, Lord, let me qualify my question. Is any of that in our packet?
No, those were from George, the motions that we need to make.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second, all in favor? All right, same
You actually
3.
need to let them know.
All opposed? 2 noes?
It's not, my no vote is not specifically for not wanting to do the project. My is more of a clerical issue.
And I just want to state for the record that we tried to do it as quickly as possible at the request of our employee, so we could keep the ball rolling. We had the attorney review it, that's why we pay the attorney. We worked with this engineer, spent lots of money with this engineer, and council sometimes just likes to hear themselves talk and tries to hold up the process when we can keep the ball rolling.
All right, I I have another motion to make. I move that the sanitation removal project be exempt from the requirements of the Village of Wesley Chapel purchasing policy, financial control policy regarding obtaining bids. And make that motion because we've already received bids initially.
All right, is there a second?
One second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? All right, that's 4 in favor. All opposed? I guess Mike is abstaining. I guess Mike's abstaining. All right, so that brings us to,
Thank you, council, unless you got any more questions?
I do have a question.
sure.
The dogwood trees, how are they holding up to the rain and?
One blew over, it was kind of struggling anyway, one blew over, I'm gonna have to replace. One didn't make it through the heat, all the rest are fine. So, 2 to replace. I will do it when I make a bigger plant order to save on delivery. So 2 of them need replacing.
John, is there any way to cable or to stake those, or does that create a bigger fall hazard for anybody being around them?
Yeah, and you got the lawnmowers zipping in and out between them. As it is, they run over the plaques sometimes. I think putting cables on them would be the hazard.
How wide is the mulch from the trunk of the tree?
Outside,
How wide is the mulch out from the trunk of the tree?
I'd say 6-foot diameter with a well in the middle, so you don't,
Yeah, no, I know, they're both. Yeah, and I was just wondering if it's possible, if 3 foot's a good amount, is if it's any bigger, if that helps with, them running, because if they're running in and out of that heavy mower around those roots and all the contact with the soil a little bit up.
yeah, they don't,
So those little
they
things
tend not to run, I mean, they're fairly newly planted, so I can't see the roots going
No,
beyond
but
3
if
feet
it's
of mulch.
like you were just doing a little bit, just keeping the weight off of them.
I'm happy that currently we rolling off.
Pretty good.
One other question. In the June minutes, there were some recommendations that Brandon made in regards to flock safety, and I think,
I have not followed up with that yet.
okay.
I need to contact them, understand what's required to get me authorized, and then I'll start looking at the report system. I just haven't got around to it yet. And Amy has offered help if they need the village's authorization to let me have access. Amy's going to help.
David, I know you were absent that one meeting. After reviewing the minutes, were you in line with what the rest of the council decided as well?
For
As far as what we're doing, allowing John access to the flock system.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lutke. That brings us to the Events and Programs Committee.
All right, good evening, council. Now in my capacity as the chair of the programs committee. First, we're going to start off with the most encouraged by the committee. Sunny Day Market, since they are here and have been here for about an hour. I'll just tell you a little bit about them, what they told us, and are about an hour of us questioning them while they were here. So Sunny Day Markets is a local company that is out of Indian Trail. Their organization runs events for many different municipalities within the area, but also in North and South Carolina. Essentially what they would be doing is running our events and coordinating vendors, dealing with cleanup, etc. This would not only cost the village little money, but possibly no money at all. So I will have them come up and tell you a little bit more about them. And the committee unanimously suggested that they take over the winter event that's in December. Well, I'll let them tell you a little bit about them.
Yeah.
Hello there. I'm Hannah Noel. I'm owner of Sunny Day Markets. Kate's just passing out a packet that we passed out at the planning committee. I don't know if I'm supposed to say my personal address, but the business address is 202 East Jefferson, Monroe, North Carolina. I reside in Indian Trail, and then Kate, our community and sponsorship relations manager, is from Waxhaw. Well, originally New York, but she lives in Waxhaw. So we've got Union County pretty much covered just within where we're located. Really, we're here to talk to y'all today, deciding if we can partner, take over your town events. You can read our references on the front page. Most recently, we just signed a $20,000 contract with the town of Knoxville to completely take over their festivals. However, their festivals are completely different than here. It's just our grandest one that we would be able to hang our hat on. We shut 3 streets down, 100 vendors, 15 food trucks, kids zone, really turning into a huge annual festival. What we're looking to do with Wesley Chapel is bring y'all successful events, whether it is a Christmas event, if it's one of our food and brews. We also do things like wine festivals, or we could just do like a Easter extravaganza or summer cookout type thing. And you can really check all that out on our social media. We have a little over 22,000 followers. We are based in Union County, and this is where we have grown our footing, so we do know that we could make Wesley Chapel have some really fun events. Y'all would just have to let us know what you want done for the events, if that makes sense.
So how does the funding work for this? As Joel said, it's free to nothing.
It can be. So there's 2 options. We can come in completely free to the town, and then we work with different businesses throughout the town to help sponsor events. How we get paid is through vendors, food trucks, and things like that, and then we set a budget. So it does cap off to what we could provide, unless Miss Kate here, does her thing with our sponsorship in our community, which normally we're able to get out the vendors, the food trucks, the kids' activities. What would be extra that maybe the town could put in on, if you wanted to, we could do it without. It would just have to be okay to have sponsors on our end, would be like live music, making kid zones completely free, things like that.
Can you talk a little bit about the type of media you would use for communicating events?
To the town.
Just how do you typically advertise an event you're hosting?
Facebook, Instagram, Eventney, Google, TikTok, and then we also use Threads. Those are our main outlets, and that would be something with the town too. If y'all used, I don't know if y'all have a nice little email list to send out to all y'all's residents, that would be super awesome too. And then we can put banners and signs up as well. And then we know how to work with Union County, get the permits, do all the things we need to. We've been doing it for 4 years, so I'm very acquainted with who I need to work alongside of to do that. Outside of y'all, we would have to figure out y'all's event application, or if we just need to submit what each event is and get it signed off on. And then I always like to say, because we talked a lot about liability last time, we do carry a $2 million liability policy that we're able to list the town as additional insured. And then if we bring anything out, such as rock climbing, bounce houses, we would have them list y'all as additional insured. So it would be 2 separate policies covering the town.
Well, the consensus I got from attending the Parks and the Events Committee meeting was that the committee's biggest headache seemed to be the ongoing preparation for the events, getting the insurance for the bounce house, getting the food vendors set up, getting the food trucks, organizing all the permits required. And I think that when they heard that that was going to be something that they would no longer have to deal with as far as a headache, and the cost was going to be little or nothing, they were all for it.
Yes, as I said, we voted unanimously on it.
We take that headache.
With Dogwood Park having the dam breached and not being able to be used, are you comfortable hosting an event at a smaller space, like town hall?
Yes, absolutely. We've already kind of laid it out.
Okay.
Yeah. when we see, I told her right when I hired her on about 5 months ago, I said, you're gonna start looking at parking lots and little grassy areas, like a totally different thing. So when we got here, it was raining and we just rode around at our first meeting, and we definitely could make this work as long as we had approval for like vendor parking in Novant and things like that. But I think, yeah, it'd be a good spot, in my opinion.
What happens in the event of rain? Such a rain
We will
situation?
try to reschedule or move to Sunday, especially with towns putting, with sponsorships, but how we do work is on a no refund policy. That is how our business has to operate up until we get to a certain point. As you can see, our list is nice, but it's not super long to cover all those things. We are rain or shine unless it's really bad. I mean, like hurricane or like downpouring like today, obviously wouldn't, but we do not normally like to call our events until Saturday morning. I've hosted a little over 300 events and I've had to cancel about 10 because I've watched the weather, and I know that like the parking rec department has a better system than what I can look up. We do that with Stallings a lot, going back and forth, deciding should we cancel or should we not, and I usually would not pull the plug unless it's Saturday morning or unless it's a hurricane or something like that, unless there's just no end in sight.
Montana, can you give us a snapshot of what you guys do for the town of Stallings?
For the town of Stallings, we do their annual light up the Christmas tree. We do the vendor village in that. We did have the Sunny and Stallings Farmers Market. However, we have discontinued that for the year. Reason being is we can promote local, we can promote small, but our farmers are already, and produce stands are already so set in the markets that they're in. We originally felt that we were able to do that, and we're not. We've emailed over 200 different vendors trying to get them in. I am telling you one of the downsides, but that's about a farmer's market. Farmers markets are really struggling from beginning to end. I mean, prices are higher, vendors are stuck. Like Matthews Farmers Market, amazing. They have amazing vendors, but those vendors have been there so long, and it takes not just 2 years, it takes years, decades to build up a farmers market. And what I've seen through farmers today, people need quick money. Like they can't wait for these to be rebuilt. And that's one thing with our Sunny Day Markets events. Outside of that, we do have kids, we have everything. I mean, $5 bounce houses, that's able for kids to come out. Almost all families, not all families, but a good portion of families can afford that. Whether you're walking around, we pass out freebies too. Our events are, well, that's what I do for the town of Stallings. But, so currently, we're no longer doing the farmers market, but we do their Christmas village at their tree lighting every year. This will be the 3rd year that we have had that contract.
And you work with their staff and their committee?
Yes, specifically Eunice and Tori is who I work side by side with.
And I think you answered my next question. Could you, would you do
I'm not
one of 3 or 4 events that we would have, or do you ask to do all of them? And how do you compensate it for an event? Is it per event? I mean, could we say, yes, we want to do the next one, working through you guys? And
we can go, especially with a first-time contract and a first-time event on our side as well, because we have seen events not work in certain places. So I would personally like to commit to one, hopefully in 2025, and then in 2026 we could move forward. I'm going to use Moxville as another example. We have taken over, we did a food and brews for them, and we do 2 food and brews and a wine festival for them. And then they have 2 annual festivals a year, so we've taken over all of that now. So it would just depend really what they would want to do. For us, like in our mind, we would do Easter, we would do Christmas, maybe Halloween. It would just depend. We would have to do dates and things like that. And then we really think a food and brews would be good here for the community, or maybe like more of a wine festival. I know alcohol scares. I understand that, that's a liability, but that's another thing that falls under the ABC board, and also the permits through the Union County having the police department out here, as long as we've got our bases covered, there's nothing really to worry about, in my opinion.
How do you handle conflicts as far as two municipalities wanting to have an event on the same day?
You really would have time. First off, you're gonna look at time. Are we gonna be before them? Are we gonna go after them? How do they differ?
I mean, how do you divide up your time?
We have staffing for it.
How many staff do you have?
So on payroll weekly, there are 4. Our event help and including our staffing, we have about 8 to 10, just depending on what it is. At an event like this, we probably would have 3 staff members. And that's another fun fact. We have just linked up with Union Academy. We're attending their career fair. Yeah, I think it's like career fair where they do their sponsorship, not sponsorship, where their volunteer hours. And they have started volunteering with us too. So something like that, we would have like 3 main people who would be with walkie-talkies and clipboards that you could talk to anybody. And then we would have 4 volunteers on site as well.
And you reach out and find those volunteers yourself?
Yeah.
Because I noticed that one of the things that you include is the cleanup, and I'm sure that's going to take more than just the 2 of you, so I didn't know.
Oh yeah, there's a whole team behind us. You just don't see us. A lot of us, on the weekends, what we do, we employ teachers. We have a teacher that's worked with us for the whole 4.5 years. Teachers, young adults, anybody that's looking to help, we do pay a good rate. I want to say that too, you know. We do not offer health insurance if anybody's seeing this. Event planning's tough, but it's just usually 3 people on site that can handle any question. Tomorrow our team is actually going into crowd management training. So there are things that we're putting in place to know as we grow, not just learn once we're there. We already know, working along fire marshals and things of that sort. So that is one thing I do want to say about cleanup. Yes, if we did ask anything of Wesley Chapel, if it was 2 things, that it would be appropriate trash receptacles. So the rolling ones would be fantastic, and then porta potties. But yes, we stay until the end of an event. We'll even pick up trash at the end to make sure it was left in better condition than we came.
What's the list?
Those would be the only 2 things that I've asked for.
Typically, when we put on events, the events committee only has about a handful of people you can really count on, and then we struggle to try to get volunteers to fill in the gaps as needed, and this really does relieve a big portion of that.
We also struggle to find food vendors, as we've talked about, the council has talked about before with me, and food vendors pay them to be at their events. I don't know how that happens, but that's
We're
what
a
happens.
marketing company
Yeah.
on top of everything that we do. That's how we market the venues we market the food trucks. If you go to our page right now, we're posting events that are a month out. Like this weekend, we're doing a can food drive. We're really excited about that for Stanley Community Ministries too. So we do try to put give backs in there. Really, I would just say give us a try.
Was there a recommendation for an event?
Yes, absolutely. I was going
I have
to state that.
before you do that.
Absolutely.
So previously, council has expressed concern about soliciting our small businesses to support our things. Because we don't have that many, we're a very small town. What kind of reception have you received from businesses from repeat requests for sponsorship? Or do you go outside of town limits for
Do
sponsorship?
you want to talk more on that?
With our sponsorships, we do like to keep it local if we can, but we also have larger corporations. We have really good partnerships with like Champion Windows, Lee Filter, companies like that, where we'll put their logo on like our flyers or our banners. Maybe they want to have a presence on site, but they also give freebies like spinning the wheel and winning sunglasses or cups or t-shirts or stuff like that. So that's what the sponsorship expectation is in return. So we'd love to have local, but we're never going to be annoying to those businesses either.
And then you mentioned like downtown $5. So what type of fees would a visitor or attendee encounter at one of the events?
Well, if we're talking about the Christmas event, we would love to try and do pictures with Santa potentially, and then that would be free.
Yeah.
We've
Easter running. We
yeah,
have
things like that. So we'd like to keep Oh, and we, as a company, pass out like Play-Doh or
Bubbles.
bubbles, or, so we always want, as somebody who couldn't afford to maybe pay for things, always have a good experience, still see Santa, still get a little prize, and things like that. But there are ways we could make bounce houses free, but on our end, charging the $5 is just what makes it possible. And that's where the town can step in and pay for that if they want it to be free to residents.
Do you have like a first aid stations at your events?
On our table, yeah, let me get over here. It depends. Now, if alcohol is present, yes, we would have to have medic, but just at our table alone, I know this is probably like the low stuff to begin with, but we do pass out blood spray, sunscreen, and germ sanitizer. That's what we keep on, but we always have a first aid kit on hand, and if there was ever to be an emergency, you don't even press go, or your walkie-talkie, you call 911 immediately. If there was to be something like that, out of the 300 events, I have never had to do that before. So we do run events in Salisbury, and we are required to have 6 officers on site. I have heard of things that have happened, but they took care of it. Here, I personally, on our first one, I don't think that police would be required because we wouldn't have alcohol. Now, if there was alcohol, we would at minimum have 2 police officers here with us as backup if anything ever needed to happen. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, Joel, these events, a lot of times we'll have the fire department come and bring their big trucks.
Yeah.
And so the kids and stuff like that. Do you reach out to people like the fire department and the police and try to get them to come to some of these events?
Yes.
Okay.
We have one in 2 weeks that Mint Hill, they bring out their fire trucks and they actually pass out the hats and everything too. There are some that are unable to do it. They're very busy, but there are some that are like, hey, we'll come out for a little while. We run the one in Sun Valley and Bakers. It never fails. They always come and visit. Somebody's got it on their calendar. I don't know who, but they always. It's a community event when it comes to Sunny Day Markets. We built this off of 10 vendors outside of a brick and mortar right before COVID hit, and we became such a pillar in the community when COVID took my small business down. Those other small businesses didn't know where they were going to go, and they are the ones who pushed me into event planning. So our small business veins run deep in Union County and the community that we have built. So everybody's going to come.
Joel, what is the
And we want y'all to come too.
Joel, what is the typical budget per event?
Typically, the council has allocated historically $5,000 per event.
It's less this year.
Yes, it is.
We reduced it significantly to a gross number this year, remember, to get it down to.
Yeah, we could still pay for things like porta pots and bounce houses.
If necessary, sure. We did discuss at our committee meeting using the bathrooms that we have inside, and I believe that would be adequate. At the car show when we had 500 people here,
Yeah.
or where we take 500 people, I never saw a single line for the bathroom at all.
Joel, how would this impact the committee
Obviously, we would have less
responsibility
when it comes to these events. Obviously, the committee would have control over like the community conversations that we've been having, which I'm excited to talk a little bit more about that later and whatnot. But when it comes to the day-to-day of the events, obviously they would take that over. But we would have, I would assume that we would have a bit of say when it comes to like giving them suggestions or we're looking for this or we're looking for that. Yeah, a collaboration.
To this?
So are you asking for council's approval to move forward with one event?
Correct. So the committee proposed to go with Cocoa, to turn the Cocoa Carols into an event run by them. Our initial proposed date is the 20th, if that works for them. And
You take 1 month?
of December, sorry. And that would be, and if the 20th did not work for them, then the backup date would be the 13th.
Here at Village Hall?
The what?
Here at Village Hall?
Yes, correct. They said the 20th works, so.
Yes.
We have Santa pending already.
We actually already have Santa booked in hopes this would work out.
We have another event.
We have the same Santa that does the wax out touch a truck event. So
Yes,
he's
he's
Santa.
gonna stay right here, so,
Do you have a time for that event?
I don't think we'll have to discuss that with
Yeah.
them and whatnot for more specifics, but I would assume probably in the evening or something like that. Obviously, it's in the winter time, so probably a little bit earlier evening or something like that, but, or
Usually
maybe
we
that.
do it in the mid-morning, early afternoon, because
Okay.
of the children
Like
with
11,
Santa.
11
to go to
11.
work.
Yeah, you gotta start practicing going to bed. I have a 2-year-old and she started going, ho, ho, ho. So excited, I can't wait.
Especially having a food truck too, mid-morning.
That's-
Yeah, get your lunch. I would say probably 11 to 4, because December's weird, you never
That's true.
know. I mean, it could be cold or it could be beautiful, you know, but, and we do love night markets too. Our vendors and us have a setup for night markets, lighting up all of our tents and stuff, but not in December.
We don't love that.
Yeah, okay, daytime,
Yeah, like 11 to 4.
yeah.
Yeah, your suggestion.
Yeah.
So you are asking for a motion from council,
Correct.
so.
I'll make a motion that we utilize this organization for our cocoa and carrots as a tester.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by David, is there any further discussions or questions for these ladies? Okay, so, all in favor to work with Sunny Day Markets for the December event, unanimous?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. So, great to work with you in the future. I'll be in contact.
Yeah, shoot us an email.
Will do,
Get it
will do.
taken care of.
I think the consensus.
I think that's the same, was the same one that you gave us,
They
yeah.
wanted the
Okay, so much.
conversation to be
Thank
fun
y'all so
there.
much.
This is gonna help them do that.
We will have the airport.
All right, stupendous. I thank you for approving that. The committee will be greatly appreciative and will be very happy. I know that I apologize for me not being here last month. At the time, I was sick. I'm now getting over another sickness and whatnot, but I'm here and feel a lot better. Did you guys want me to talk about the car show? I saw that it was talked about last meeting in the minutes. And what? Nope, okay. We will move on from that. So our next event is the Fall Bash. They did inform us that that was going to be too quick of a timeline, hence why we did go with the Cocoa with Carols. That event is going to be on October 18th here at Village Hall, and that is being coordinated by Pat and Aaron. Aaron was initially going to be coordinating our Cocoa with Carols, but since they will be taking over that, we just moved Aaron to help out Pat in that case. Our next community conversations is September 3rd with Lisa Tompkins. She's from the Carolina Heritage Nursery, which is a local business that John relayed her information to me, and so she's going to be speaking here at Village Hall about that at 7, or I believe it's 6:30 or 7. I have to check back exactly what time that is. And then we also had a few water and soil and water wildlife chapter events over the summer. I unfortunately was not able to attend any of those. I heard those were relatively well attended. In the future, I also was able to I was actually in relations and got in contact with the one lady that works with the judicial system and helps the children that are in poor homes and whatnot. And so she's going to be coming to Village Hall in November, I believe it is, to talk about her program.
Guardian ad litem?
Maybe, I believe
Yes.
so. Yes.
I did want to inform council, I went to the water and soil meetings about the beaver and about the insects. They're very well attended. But I didn't find out about the events that were actually at the park, and I didn't know if you or John could speak to how that was attended.
I was at both of them. I would say 10 people.
For each.
The insect one was about the same as the one they did here, but it was abbreviated for the kids. The kids loved all the bugs. And then they walked around a little bit trying to find bugs.
And the other one was on
Bird
basics.
one, the other one was about birds. My grandson loved it. They had like a checklist. They had to spot some birds. They had to listen to birds singing. They had to try and find a nest. So it was like a scavenger hunt around birds. And then we walked the trails looking for particular kinds of birds. So
It's really,
people attended, loved it, but the attendance about 10 people.
the Great Pollinator Census Count. I don't know if you've heard of it, it's happening in a couple of weeks. Well, I'm really confused confused on what date it is, so maybe in a week. But that is an event where you do a little bit of training online, and then you sit like 15 minutes in front of a plan and you document everything you've seen, which is a great thing to do in a park. So something maybe for next summer to get teed up, perhaps.
Yeah, do you know the lady who's doing this? She's a big native plant lady.
I've heard her speak,
Yeah.
yeah, but with the plant census
Yeah.
as an activity for the kids, especially who love looking for the bugs and everything else, might be something to think about for next year, how to have a little team,
Outside, okay.
just
For the
outside,
children,
just
yeah.
running around looking for bugs.
Absolutely. The other motion that that we have for the council today, that the committee also unanimously requested of council, is there was a suggestion of having a candidate forum for those running for village council, and then obviously the mayor, as she's running uncontested. The committee proposed that this forum/debate would be September 30th at about 6 or 6:30. This would obviously be open to the public here at Village Hall. The committee proposed that we contact WIXE or WBT for them to air this live on the radio possibly. And we were projecting that this could possibly run for maybe an hour or maximum of 2. And so we were looking for the council's approval on that.
Who would be invited to speak, to come to this?
So all members of the public would be welcome to come, and
I mean, as far as the people running for office.
well, obviously those that have filed, which is Mr. Como, yourself, and Mr. Aliff, who was obviously here
So
earlier, and then
just Wesley
So
Chapel.
it's just,
correct, yes, just Wesley
Just
Chapel
Wesley
candidates
Chapel, okay.
specifically, yes, and obviously the mayor, as she's running again.
And Deb, just so you know, I think the issue was not for them to see who you were, or who I was, because I think we've been around long enough, most people know us, it's for the unknown candidate.
Well, we did this like in 2019. The League of Women Voters was the sponsor, and they went around to each municipality and held an event, and they had set questions, and they were the moderator and everything. So it wasn't like a free-for-all. It was a moderator, they had a certain amount of time to speak, I think, and set up and everything else. So it might be with contacting them to get some guidance, because I think an hour and a half sounds way too long
Okay.
for the number of candidates, because you want to be able to get some of the information out, but it was a set thing of how it was. It wasn't just a free-for-all to have.
And what we were thinking is, I know that members of staff at WBT have moderated similar
Yeah.
debates and forums, so that's why we would encourage maybe a member of their staff to
I would
moderate that.
say, I don't like the word debate in this sense, because we're a nonpartisan body.
Yeah.
Right, so to me, it's more of that conversation
yeah.
or putting yourself out there. Right, it's like, we don't need to be argumentative and divisive here.
Yeah.
But to have it to where that you can get the message out, but I can't remember, I don't think we had that many people, but maybe half a dozen or so, not including ourselves and our associated people.
The speakers or the audience?
Audience.
Okay.
Really? That's kind of surprising. Maybe that's just because I enjoy creating things like this.
Well, there's
No,
a
I mean,
specific
it was only-
question.
it was very few people attended.
Wow.
Are there specific, I'm sorry, but there was specific questions that you guys will ask, or how will that work?
Obviously, the committee has not necessarily decided on specifics of that, but at least in what I was thinking personally is hopefully they would be coming from the audience and citizens and what they care about, and asking those questions on those types of things. That's the way that I was projecting it.
That's not how they've been done in the past. My
I don't know how
objection-
they've done it in the past. so.
Yeah, my objection to the kind of that format is it's very difficult for candidates to be prepared. They have to prepare for everything, and also can then become a grandstanding thing for somebody who just wants to come in and complain about, I don't know, that neighbor of mine with all the vehicles in the yard. Type of things that then get very difficult to manage, and you totally lose track of what the whole purpose is for people to understand the candidates that are running.
Okay, so the idea would be
Set messages,
Okay.
like someone's moderating and asking the same questions of people to do it. Like I said, it was the league did it, I can't remember.
And I don't think they do anything like that.
I don't think they do anything like that anymore. But, it's a good idea, but it just didn't have that much participation, so I think I would,
Well, we've done a couple of them.
be
over the last-
prepared not to have an overflow.
We've done a couple of them over the last last voting season. The first one was when there was a school, a de-annexation issue that was a very hot topic, and that one was actually very well attended. I think the concept was just to give the opportunity for everyone to meet the candidates, plural, and ask general questions.
Yeah, but I think it just can become a public forum that goes sideways.
Where it's more airing your grievances that really should be done during public comment periods, but they don't come to
Right.
public comment periods, so they came to
Exactly.
the
So
forum.
then they
That's
just-
why you have a moderator.
Yes,
Even
exactly.
just trying to set that, and then they get upset, and then they get to show, whereas if you have the expectations of.
Joel, they do
Yeah.
still have a website. Maybe you could
Who?
reach out.
The League of
The
Women
League of Women
Voters.
Voters, maybe you could reach out and see if they might be willing to moderate or provide some guidance on questions or process and procedure for that day.
All right, will do.
Because I just think you want to have an opportunity for candidates to be seen and heard equally and not
Yeah.
drowned out because somebody's got some grievance. Not that we've ever seen that happen in a county.
Well, I guess that's more for the place of it, is at a council meeting during public comment period versus at a forum.
No, it's happening.
So any more questions for Joe? Do we have approval for this event on the 30th? I would say 6:30 mainly.
Okay.
Give people a chance to get off work.
Nope.
I think if the League of Women Voters can't moderate it, I think maybe Joel would be a good moderator
Yeah, I agree.
for an event like that.
Do we need a
Joel, are you
motion to?
willing to assume responsibility for
At the committee meeting, if I did say that if someone else would not do it, like WBT or WIXC or something like that, then I would do it, yes.
Just twist this arm a little.
What?
Just twist your arm a little more.
Very impartial.
All right. So,
Yeah.
I'll make
I
a
would
motion,
go,
I'll make a motion that we have, that the events committee put on a candidate forum and talk to the League of Municipalities, Women's
League of Women
Voters.
Voters.
Yeah, League of Women Voters, for participation for health assistance.
all right, there's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any further
I just have a
discussion?
quick question. So is this leaving the door open for possible, like, radio transmission or no radio transmission or?
I think we have to approve the event first and then see if you can get.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's still possibly open if we can do that?
if you can do that.
Okay,
Plus, you have a live stream option now.
you, of course, absolutely. Then you can have video or radio, like some of the old presidential debates.
I would consider it more of a meet the candidates forum,
Okay.
not necessarily a debate to Amanda's point.
Yeah, of course. But
No
anyway,
problem, no problem.
anyway.
All right, so all in favor?
All right,
Unanimous?
stupendous. Let's see, last couple things. We did approve our social media mission statement. Finally, we can all give a weak round of applause for us. Here is the approved mission statement. Let's see here. There we go.
When you say approved, how does that?
That was approved by the committee, as was requested by the council. Did you want a copy of this?
Yes.
There you go. And then, did you guys want to take a peek and read that for a second? or-
Yeah.
Why don't you read it out loud?
Oh, well, I did have 6 copies, but I wasn't
Here,
expecting.
read it out
Thank
loud.
you.
I expected you guys to memorize.
As it states, our aim is to educate, inspire, and collaborate with the community at large via social media. By curating and sharing local events focused on information, we will enhance awareness of quality recreation opportunities throughout the village of Wesley Chapel. Utilization of social media platforms for promotion of local events can connect and enrich the residents of our community. This was drafted and mostly edited by Mr. Wayne Todd on our committee as well. So he deserves a lot of credit for this. Anyway,
Do we have
I,
to,
I guess we don't really need you don't really need to approve it, I guess, or do you?
I think at some point, we need to think about how it fits in with the whole village social media policy, and then think about how this fits in with the events and committees charter. I mean, it's a nice little paragraph. It is kind of where to put it and how to use it, that I don't know off right off. But I don't think it's as a standalone document. I think it's part of,
It needs to go into.
part of something, yeah. Like
So part of maybe a larger, like,
policy document or
multiple
something.
page policy, I guess you could, or,
Yeah, like we
or
could-
to be included in maybe the Facebook policy that's already part of the
Yeah,
villages.
something like that, or, yeah, or
Yeah.
Or
part
even
of
just
your charter,
well, it's not a charter
Or
anymore, your procedures.
yeah.
Maybe we could just add it
I don't
into.
know. Have to think about it.
Okay. So
That's
we'll
good.
maybe discuss this a little bit more next month possibly of where to implement, where to add this into so that's more permanent.
Yeah, and we can pull up the, your policy or procedure.
The Facebook policy.
Yeah.
That's-
And of course, it can be posted on the website and stuff, but yeah,
Yep,
yeah. Just
Okay.
like call line on it to say, where's the best place to use it?
okay.
Because otherwise it just kind of like,
Yeah, then it's, yeah, exactly.
And I don't know if the best place is like our Facebook social media policy as a whole or your
Yeah.
committee.
specific, yeah.
All right, the last two things I want to mention is that today is actually the last day that Julie Thomas is on our committee. She's obviously been on the Parks and Rec committee for many years before I ever was on the scene. And so she actually did attend our last meeting. And so obviously she's encouraged if she so chooses to attend the meetings, and so on and so forth. But obviously did send her an email, thank you to her for her years, I don't even know how long of service, if it was decades, I don't know. And then finally, our next committee meeting is the 26th of August. At that meeting, we will work on finishing the weather policy, which would the council like us to continue working on that weather policy for future? Okay, got it. We will then work on the weather policy. And we will also work on finishing up that fall batch. I'm just making sure, because obviously we just approved Sunday Day Market, but obviously if that falls through, then we will have our own weather policy.
And you have a fall event you have to deal with.
What?
And you have a fall event you have to
Yes,
deal with.
yes, that's also true. Any other questions for me?
You're still going to be working with this new,
Absolutely, 100%. I think there needs to be a lot of collaboration. I have my opinions on sort of things that they said tonight, which I disagree with, but that is the purpose of the committee and collaboration. So,
I would encourage you to invite them to the next Parks and Rec, the next
Events and Programs
committee meeting.
mhm.
Now that we've made the decision to contract with them.
Yeah. Which, and then, how would the council like us to proceed with possible funding? Because obviously they were saying that they would be, would you give our discretion to fund, so that people don't have to pay for bounce houses and things like that?
Correct me if I'm wrong, council, but in the past, we gave them the set number per event, right?
Mhm.
And we told them to spend it.
But we changed that this year, kind
Yes.
of crunched it down to a lower number, because we were just trying to fit it.
So
And
do we
so,
want to give them a number for this event?
I think,
well, I was gonna say, I would see what the proposal is, because the event committee, that's their whole budget, they gotta think about all
Yeah.
the events they wanna have, and how much, I think they should think about that, and not us just dictate a number, but here's their budget, how many events do they think they wanna have, how much do they wanna dedicate to that? And then get the proposal from Sunny Day of like, what would you have, what would all the costs be, because we always pay for the extra trash and the porta johns. And depending on if it's an event at the park, we know we have to pay for days. So there's some costs that we know
Yeah.
we would have, but we don't know what it
But
would
we don't want
cost.
to get down in the weeds again.
but is the
Yeah.
general consensus as long as they stay under their approved budget?
Yeah,
Well,
would the council be okay if the committee just chose to spend our budget to allow the bounce houses to be free instead of charging members of the public $5 to
well,
be?
everything depends, it's a technical term.
Yeah.
For example, like the car show, I disagreed after seeing the budget and how money was spent, that 70% of everything went for a bounce house, and
for kids for something that was essentially an adult event, because you don't want little kids running around in cars. But if it's a fall bash where you're gonna have people in costumes and running around and everything, spending more money in those things makes sense to me. But when you say, well, all the budget and everything else, I don't know, am I signing up $2,000 or signing up $5,000? I think the committee has to figure out if that's a good value or not.
Okay.
Some events might cost more than others too.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm hearing, Joel, is you have to communicate what your proposal,
Yes.
what you're proposed to be spending.
Got it.
Yeah, the committee needs to understand what they can do and what those costs are and prioritize.
Will they make sure that happens?
You could just come to the council and say, we're gonna spend money on a bounce house because this is a kid-friendly event, we're gonna spend money on a foam pit because this is a kid-friendly event.
Yeah.
And then the next one, if it's gonna be movie event, we're gonna spend money on popcorns and ices.
What popcorns?
All right, thank you. Any further questions for Joe?
Nope.
All right, thank
All
you,
right.
Joe.
Yep.
Good job, Joel.
Thank
That brings us to, Emily, do you have anything that you want to add, because we didn't do the rest of the planning? I will say Mr. Frank Capella came in, shared video of water leaving the Crestwind construction site, flowing over Potter, looking very dangerous. So he has sent it to, we have sent it to Emily, and Emily is going to reach out to the county and the developer, or I guess the county, because there's no kind of fencing up to stop that.
That video later can happen.
And Frank's gonna also have a resident forward Emily some video and pictures from the Union County or the unincorporated development behind Frank Capella's house that is also kind of flooding in on the back end of Wyoming Creek. So I'm asking Emily to reach out to the county also about that and the developer, because a landscaper did go back in there and see that and he's gonna send all this to Emily, that the silt fencing was not working or pushed to the side or something. So I've asked Emily to be working on those issues.
And the subdivision that's causing the issue, is that a Wesley Chapel?
No, that's Crestwind's 55 and up, unincorporated. Yeah.
Well, and the other, the backside of their community is also
Yeah.
Union County subdivision, and that's an ongoing problem.
Well, I can see from Frank's perspective, if one resident complains to the county, that's one thing, but if it comes directly from the village, I think it carries a little bit more weight.
Well, I don't think this is new. I think we had a lot of discussion about that very location. So
This time of year.
So that brings us to the infrastructure and development updates. I know that Aston is having a meeting tomorrow, so maybe after said meeting, they will have more to share. For DOT projects, I don't know if y'all have gotten as many complaints as I have, but hopefully, we will just cross our fingers that both the bridge remediation or the bridge rebuilding on Newtown and the roundabout at Potter be finished on time in early to mid-September. If people complain, please direct them to NCDOT's online website for the potholes and all the things. There are a ton of bad potholes out there right now, really bad. So the more people that complain, hopefully the more attention they'll get. But I don't have any other updates other than those.
I had a resident ask me specifically about the Cuthbertson Road intersection and Cuthbertson and Utah Road intersection, and that it was specifically tied with certificates of occupancy for the subdivision farther down the road by Lowe's, which is an unincorporated Union County. Originally, it was they wouldn't be giving certificates of occupancy until the road was approved. Then we found out it wasn't until phase 3 of the subdivision before they were going to hold up certificates of occupancy. I believe we're at phase 3 now, and I wanted to know if anybody knew where we were with the county, or maybe one of our staff members could reach out to Lee and find out specifically, are they on phase 3? Are they holding up permits? Because everybody thought when schools let out with all the flags in the ground that the work was going to start, and nothing happened.
Emily, did you say something? I seem to remember, somebody said something about why they hadn't worked this summer, but I can't remember. I don't know if it was utilities, but will you check on that? Why they didn't work on that turn lane while school was out?
Well, specifically, are they releasing the permits of occupancy on phase 3 of that subdivision, which was one of the conditions of them was to approve that road intersection? And you don't have to wait till the next council meeting, you can just send them an email with whatever answer you get back from the county.
Okay. So that leaves us, any more questions about the DOT projects?
Nope.
All right, that leaves us to mayor and council comments. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I was in reading over the minutes over the weekend. It occurred to me that that's such a massive job. I've been state secretary in 2 different organizations I belong to, and I know what a nightmare these minutes can be. And I just wanted to commend Amy on the good job she's doing. I mean, they're very specific, they're very detailed, and I think she's been doing a great job. You're welcome. And also, I wanted to know if there's any way we can put back on our agendas, whether something is a motion or for information. That was just really helpful for me. I mean, is that something that anybody else is interested in? It used to be a line here that said motion or for information, motion for information. It kind of lets us know that we need to make a motion or not. Unless I'm asking.
Just another column on the...
Yeah, just another, remember we used to have it, it would just say for
Yeah,
motion.
second bold. If council wants that.
Well, that's why I was asking, is anybody else interested in that, or is it just me? If it's just me, don't worry about it.
But usually in the agenda comments that attach,
Mhm.
for me, what's helpful is when it's in there that says motion needed, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
That's what I find helpful, putting just motion on here, kind of like, a lot of the things with motion, I can figure out myself, right? Oh, somebody wants a bond release, well, you're gonna want me to vote on that. Whereas when it's a little more detail for some of the others, I
That's true.
find that helpful.
Do you want us to be more specific in the packet?
Well, just so that I know that this is going to have to come up for motion, or this is just for information, it's just helpful. If it needs a motion, I'm going to be a little bit more
Sure. Amy and I can work on that.
critical looking at it and making sure I know it, understand it. That's it.
I'll go. I got 4 things here. First one was with the events committee, specifically partnering now with Sunny Day Marketing. The comment that I heard most by the end of the meeting was that they wanted to make the committee fun again. And I think if they take off the stress of worrying about insurance certificates for the bounce houses and food trucks and all that other kind of stuff, it will be fun again. So hopefully we'll see that and maybe get an increase in volunteers to be on the committee. The other question I had, comment I had is Stallings was supposed to have their National Night Out last week and it got rained out. When is our next National Night Out?
October 7th.
October 7th, okay, that was my other question. I really enjoyed Joel's recommendation of writing a letter to FEMA, specifically coming from our representative. I think that just like the letter to the county regarding road flooding, a letter to FEMA specifically from one of our representatives at the state level, I think is going to be very advantageous to move things along where things have really been stalled. Last thing I had was, and I spoke with one of the council members before the meeting. I understand we're going through a transition period here with the last few months with staff and with everything else, but I'd like to see us get back to a more regimented schedule for getting paperwork and getting things in a more timely manner, because a lot of times I don't have the time to look at this stuff, a couple of days before or a day before the council meeting. Because sometimes there's questions that may or may not be able to be answered on weekends. So I would just see if we can work our way back to a point where we can get the information a little bit quicker.
We have less than 4-hour meetings. 2 big or doozies, and I'm disappointing myself for, I'm disappointed in myself too, I'm sorry.
I'm not saying check the figures and fix the problem, I'm just saying let's work toward getting back to a little bit more.
Anybody who questions how busy Amy is should come sit and watch her. I've been watching her for the past several weeks. She is working very hard.
Well, you can tell that by reading the minutes. I mean, again, that's a massive amount of work.
Thanks.
So hopefully you'll see
We'll
the
get-
last two
I'm gonna
meetings
get
are a
straight.
little shorter. But Amy, thank you, the minutes have been good.
No, thanks.
And we'll continue to refine and catch our typos, and in the future, if you do get those, if we do find some housekeeping issues prior, we can try to get those worked on before. But I wanted to thank Landon for coming and being so well behaved.
I wanted a picture with you.
Sure, I wondered if that was who you were waiting. I'm sorry, he's done
So
great
good.
though.
I know.
He's done great.
Thank you.
So,
David, do you have a comment?
I do, yeah. Dr. Evil once said, I need a young priest and an old priest, and I'm asking you guys to be my confession and my, hopefully ask for absolution, but I was invited to a Charlotte Regional Business Alliance meeting a few weeks ago, a couple weeks ago, and I did not know what the purpose of the meeting was, but it was to raise money for the 1% sales tax that is going to be on the Charlotte County, the Mecklenburg County vote in November. And I didn't know anything about it, so I sat through the presentation and then excused myself before they asked for donors. But it's a 1% sales tax, and it's going to raise $19 billion with a B, $19 billion to help fund the projects in Mecklenburg County that DOT does not have the money to fund. 7.7 billion in roads, 7.7 billion in rail, and 3.9 billion in bus. And the rail is projected to be either 3 or 4 rail lines in addition to the rail lines going through Charlotte now. This is basically to add to the money that Mecklenburg County receives from DOT. Taxes are going to be on groceries and fuel, and they said an average family would pay an additional $240 a year because of this tax. I find that interesting in that a county is having to do this, but I think it's also probably, I think I could probably be a fortune teller by saying this is going to be a problem that we're going to continue to have, and probably something that, I think we're going to have, as years go on, we're probably going to have to look to something like this as well to fund the shortfall of the state. But that's just sharing that for information. Joel, you're 2 for 2. I really like the you stole my thunder because I'd seen an article about Mayor Jim Bell in Weddington and pushing for the single zip code. I agree. I mean, we're under that threshold, but hopefully within the next census we can start that push again. The Alliance report I thought was incredible. I got giddy over that whenever I looked at it. I mean, that is good information, solid information that probably needs to be vetted, I think, but just the presentation and all that was incredible. And last question involves the Chamber of Commerce. We did vote to continue that membership, right?
yes, sir.
Okay, then I would like to ask, even if it's me, that we do something to get something out of that membership.
I thought Deb was going for the free lunches.
No, I don't mind. I enjoy going to those things.
Okay.
I really do. I enjoy going to chamber
Okay,
stuff.
so we do have representation there.
I have been going
Okay,
there.
cool, perfect, okay. Good deal. Good lunches?
And,
Can I go as a
the
guest?
country club.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They usually have good lunch.
Okay, good. Well, then good. Hey, problem solved.
We're feeding Deb.
All right, so is there a motion to, you have one.
I do have a comment. I would like to thank Amanda for stepping in and pitching in and covering for me when I was out. I really do appreciate it. It was a horrible time to be out, and I do appreciate everything you did, so thank you.
What do you do?
We are getting
She
through
was a
here.
superhero, that's what she did.
I think Amy was tired of looking at my face, but we are almost so close to,
Is that why Amy put those curtains up on her window?
we're so close to getting where we need to be for the budget.
I don't want to jinx it, so we're
All right, so is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Okay, second, Lori, all in favor?
Aye, aye, aye. Aye, aye, aye.
Let's do this.